Tom.
Thanks everybody for coming. You're all here, we're ready to go. Lieutenant Sigley to my left, Lieutenant Shemp to my right, in case you need to know who they are. He's in charge of homicides, he's got the narcotics unit. We're going to go back to January 1, 2011. We had a homicide occurred in the community of Early Mark where two young men were gunned down in the back of the yard. Our homicide detectives began working the case immediately, and throughout the year they worked diligently on this case and put months into it. And today we arrested 4 for the murder, and we have 1 suspect outstanding. Lieutenant Shemp will give you more information on that in a little bit. These individuals that we went after were all considered gangbangers, all considered northerners, and as a result of the homicide, we were able to work with ATF in purchasing and removing firearms from the community. We removed 8 firearms from the community by either purchasing them or by doing search warrants. The community at that time, if you remember, was it seemed like every day we were having shootings, drive-by shootings, and we went after to try to get the guns off the street, and we think we've been very successful at it. One of the machine guns was a fully automatic weapon. As a result of all of the homicide investigation, we were able to identify 12 other individuals, or 11 other individuals, who were involved also in narcotics, the sale and transfer of narcotics and weapons, and we were able to do some search warrants and accumulated and arrested a total of 16 suspects, 4 of them on the homicide, 1 outstanding homicide suspect. Lieutenant Shemp will give you more information on that. But we worked in conjunction with ATF. Some of the guns that were weapons that were purchased, and some of them were located in search warrants. So the purpose was to remove the firearms off the street, and we were able to do that. This investigation is continuing. There will be more arrests, and that's all I can give you on that. But I want to publicly thank our investigators that have worked a long, hard year on these cases and been able to bring this homicide to a conclusion. The 4 suspects, as I said, are in jail tonight, and 1 outstanding we hope to locate. And we will give you a picture of him. We would ask your help, seek your help in finding this other suspect. We want him in custody as soon as we can. We have no idea where he is at this time, obviously. I have a list of all the names of the suspects and the victims and all this, and we'll give you that after we complete this press release. At this time, I want to introduce Lieutenant Shemp, and he'll be able to answer any questions involving the actual day-to-day investigations on the homicide. Okay?
Thank you, Sheriff. Again, Lieutenant Rob Shemp, Sheriff's Violent Crimes. Just a couple more comments in regard to our nearly year-long homicide investigation. The investigation, right from its conception, targeted the Northern Structure gang members in the Early Mark area. As a result of that investigation, we do have 4 apparent gang members that are in custody on charges, including homicide, conspiracy to commit homicide, and various gang enhancements. We are asking for assistance from the public in regard to Antonio Galindo Valdez. Mr. Valdez is a 23-year-old Northern gang member out of the Early Mark Delano area. He is actively being sought for this investigation and is wanted for homicide. We encourage him to come forward. We also encourage anybody in the community that may have any information as to his whereabouts can contact the Tulare County Sheriff's Department of Violent Crimes right away. We also encourage the public to utilize Tip Now, where they can give us information anonymously, whether that be through voicemail or through text message. And at this time, I think we'd be willing to address any questions in regard to the homicide investigation. Lieutenant Sigley is also here in regard to the narcotics and weapons investigations that concluded today.
Lieutenant, if you could, this has been obviously ongoing since the beginning of the year. Can you tell us some details of maybe how you were able to catch up with these suspects and why it took so long?
One of the challenges that we face anytime we're working on a gang-related homicide is, of course, information coming forward. People in the community are always very reluctant anytime one of these cases involves gang members or the gang environment. Part of our job is to identify people that are out there that are mixed in with some of these entities, and in doing that, we were able to take little bits and pieces and finally put the whole case together. But very time consuming and attributed to the work that the investigators have done over a 10-month period.
What was the motive behind this homicide?
I'm not going to comment on the specific motive, but what I will tell you is that it certainly is centered around the gang environment and certain rules that gang members live by and just that inherent environment.
Was this northern on northern violence?
It was.
So targeting members of their own gang?
We believe it to be, yes, ma'am.
So the victim in this case, the victim was also involved in the northern?
We believe so, yes, ma'am.
Was the homicide connected to narcotics activity?
I can allow Lieutenant Sidley to comment on his case today, but certainly these individuals on both of these cases are all from the same area. They're all from the northern structure, and certainly their activities, we believe, are intermingled.
And has this been a significant increase in gang activity in Early Mark compared to what you've seen the last couple of years, or how would you characterize it?
I don't know that I would necessarily call it a significant increase, but certainly we have put a lot of resources, the sheriff has put a lot of resources and efforts into curbing some of that activity in Early Mark. We try to concentrate on all of our communities, and certainly Early Mark is one of those.
Was there the concern that this may spill over to non-gang members or innocent citizens?
Our concern is always the citizens that aren't involved in that environment. So that's always a concern anytime we're looking into one of these investigations and any illegal activity in any community.
Now, Early Mark, you're talking about a small town as far as that goes. So is there a gang problem, a big gang problem in Early Mark?
We do know, and we do have intelligence on gang members being present in the community of Early Mark. I can tell you that these two investigations have certainly impacted the criminal element that are there in that town, without a doubt.
Everybody involved is from Early Mark?
That is correct.
Are they all involved with the same gang?
They are all part of the northern structure out of the Early Mark.
Okay, so that would be the homicide suspects as well as the narcotics?
For the most part, yes, ma'am.
Now, is it unusual to have a northern gang this far south, so to speak? Because the Sureños are also claiming territory.
You know, the terms northern and southern, as far as gang members are concerned, is a little bit of a misconception. It's not actually territorial in terms of northern part of California, southern part of California. Here in this area, we unfortunately have both, as do most areas in our part of California.
And just to clarify, when you're saying northern structure, you mean Norteños?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you retrieved 8 weapons. What type? Machine guns, automatic, and pistols, or what?
During the course of the narcotics investigation, we started approximately 6 months ago. And we didn't just concentrate on the Early Mark area, we also concentrated on Pixley as well as Tipton and Early Mark. So the firearms we did purchase as well as seize in multiple search warrants were pistols. One was an M47 machine gun as well as a shotgun.
Fully automatic?
And several handguns, yes.
Can you kind of talk once again just about how this, it sounds like the investigations are related, even though they're separate cases. Can you talk a little bit more about how you guys were led to these individuals with the narcotics search warrants?
Well, we start our investigations through a variety of tools, which I'm not going to comment on, but not only do we get the citizen informant through the tip now, we get other information from patrol as well. So we start our investigation there at the base, and it just gradually grows into different locations such as Early Mark, Tipton, as well as Pixley.
So did this gang and gun crackdown stem from the double homicide in January?
Not directly, but due to the increased violence down there, we, in conjunction, we worked a collaborative effort with alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, and started a significant investigation down in the southern end of the county.
How often,
They were all connected together. They all knew each other, they all ran together, they all drove around together. They sold narcotics, they sold firearms. They were a gang connected to each other. And we went after all of them, ended up with 16 total. Some of them were, the firearms were the big issue, was to get the firearms off the streets any way we could, whether we purchased them, did them a search
Can we step
warrant.
up to the
Do you
mic,
mind
sure?
sitting?
we want to get this on camera, go ahead.
A lot of this came as a result of information I received from the public, from the leadership in the Tipton, Pixley, Erlenmeyer area, about the violence that had increased. And when we talk about northern structure, southern structure, it used to be that the cutoff was about Bakersfield. Today it's a whole lot different. They're a lot more intermingled. This was a northern structure group of people that hung out together, committed crimes together, and as a result of the homicide, we began to center on all the other suspects and brought them into the equation, because they were also involved in violent crimes, some of them we couldn't prove, but we went after them for whatever we could get to remove them from the street and to get them out of the community, and that's what we were centering on. But they're all connected. They were involved in crimes together, whether it be drug dealings or whether it be firearms, transfer of firearms, any way they could make, and some of these people, most of them have been charged with gang enhancements because they were a gang working together to, the homicides started the investigation because of the double homicide where 2 young men were killed, and then it started with that. But it began to blossom out. We brought ATF into it. They volunteered to help us with the firearms. My main goal was to get the guns off the street because the violence had escalated, gunfights, but it wasn't just the last 10, 11 months. It was over a period of 18, 20 months, maybe a little longer than that. We have a full-time gang unit that works out of Pixley substation that begin to gain information for us and garnish it and deliver it to us here at headquarters, which involved a lot of this. But the goal was to remove the gang from the community. And some of them run back and forth from Pixley to Tipton to Erlenmeyer and back and forth to commit the crimes. There's a lot of drive-by shootings that occur out there that we know about that actually no one is injured or shot or whatever. We still place it on a high priority as to know that there'll be another one come along, and so that it's the constant battling back and forth. But it could be northerners shooting northerners. It doesn't necessarily have to mean they're going after the Serranians. So the violence did start to increase, but I noticed it a couple of years back, and some of the gunfights where people, gangbangers just going down the road firing at each other, shooting back and forth. And then you end up with a couple of cars abandoned full of bullet holes, but no one injured. But the possibility of innocent citizens being killed or injured is very real for us. So we are doing what we have to do. We are doing a crack down in that area, and we're going to continue to do that. We have our gang unit, we have our homicide people working in that area, and we're going to be diligent, and we're going after them. We're going to remove them from the community.
Now, are these young people, or are they're older people, or what is it, a combination?
Well, at my age, everything's a youngster, so most of these guys are youngsters, what I would consider youngsters, but that doesn't mean they're 14 or 15 years old. They're all adults. And some of them have violent history, some of them don't, but they're all affiliated together, and we're committing crimes all over the community, southern end of the county. Get a little confused here. But we're working with the community. Our supervisor, Peter Vanderpool, is here and behind us here. And he's helping us, and we're doing a step up February the 2nd in early March. And we'll give you the information on that. So we're going to continue to work with the community leadership to remove these type of people from the community. That's all it is.
What has the community told you after all these arrests have taken place?
Well, we haven't had any input from the community so far because I haven't been down to the Erlenmeyer area today. But I'm sure they'll be very pleased because, they're very quick to voice their opinion and their displeasure in what's going on, and I don't blame them. And so we're trying to do our job down there, and we anticipate more arrests, and we're going to stay on top of these gangs the best we can. Having the gang unit in the Erlenmeyer, Pixley, and Tipton area has been a big plus for us because they're out there every night working the gangs. And they filter information back to our homicide, to our narcotics unit, and then they pick the ball up from there. But
Sheriff, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sometimes they're right in the area when a shooting occurs, they're very quick to respond. Yes.
Just to confirm, the 16 suspects, that was 4 homicide, 1 that is outstanding, so 1 that's named, and then the other 11 will be taken into custody. Is that correct?
They are in custody.
For the other
The other offenses.
Yes,
And
okay.
we'll have a printout on them. There's 16 of them, I can't go through the.
Of course, yeah.
But we'll have that information for you. And as Lieutenant Schimpf stated earlier, we appreciate anybody that can come forth with a tip or can find the out. Remember, this is a murder charge, and we're out looking for him now with other units. So
Yeah.
please feel free to call us.
Do you have photos of the people that have been taken into custody that we can have?
We're in the process of getting those for you. Is that right, Lieutenant? We'll get those to you. But the one we want you to really put out is the one we're looking for. The other ones are in custody.
So 16 total in custody? Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And then 1 still looking for?
Can you repeat the name of the suspect who you're looking for? Is Antonio Galindo Valdez?
Yeah, that is correct.
Tell me.
How old is he?
23 years of age.
Out of Early Mark.
Anything else you wanted to add, Sheriff? We haven't asked you?
The only thing I'd like to add is I'm awful proud of our agency today and the hard work that the men and women of the Tulare County Sheriff Department has put in for the last 10, 11 months. It's been hard work, and it was just old-fashioned police work. That's all it was, pounding the street, picking up the gear here, little information there, and it all begin to come together and resulted in 16 arrests, and many of these for violent offenses. And getting the guns off the street was very, very important for me and the community, for all of us here. And, we have one which is going to be under federal indictment. He sold drugs and a gun, and we're going to try him federally. Do we have his name? Okay. So we can go ahead and do that.
Javier Porche, 23 years old, out of Tulare, will be federally indicted on several weapons and narcotics charges.
The last name one more time?
Porche, P-O-R-C-H-I-A.
Let's get the spelling of your name and Lieutenant.
What's your
Just the
first name?
Your name, first name, last name spelling.
Tom Sigley, S-I-G-L-E-Y.